Hello everyone! How's everybody doing today? I hope good. I hope good. Today we're going to be going over the finalists once again. Pop out chat, make sure I can see everything. Blah 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 blah. Hello, hello! How's it going? How's it going? Yeah, I can't read Twitch chat yet. Give me 2 seconds, Twitch. Twitch. Can I pop out a dog? How you doing? How's everybody going? How's everybody doing? What's going on? What is going on here? I have to check my phone. Confirm, confirm. Yes, it's me. Great. Select stream. Great. Oh boy, we have a fight in the chat. Just saw chat. This is actually, I don't know who can, I don't know. This is a scary group. This is a scary fight. Do you guys see what, that Twitch is, selling out to Roblox? Anybody see that? Anybody else see that? Just me. Which is crazy because of all the stuff that happened with Roblox, you know? Whatever makes you happy. It makes me happy to know that Poyo's happy. Yeah, isn't it wild? Okay, so we got an ad coming in 1 second and then we're gonna start reading after that. So stay safe out there, guys. And we go that there. Wait, what do you mean? Whatever makes you happy, unfortunately, all this stuff that, all that stuff that's still going on? Huh? Oh, Poyo. Are you a subscriber? Ellen, are you a sub? Ellen, I need, listen, I'm not saying the people that are, there we go, ad break is coming up. I'm not saying, you know, we don't have these already, but I need good writers to vote. I need good writers to vote for these scripts so that we have, you know, we have, you have no money? Oh. That's fair. Aw. Well, I drink cheap bottles of wine every night because I'm gross. I don't know. Awesome. Okay, so I drink no Tiango. WKD? Ooh, yum. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Okay, so I think without further ado, like, should we start reading? No, I'm gonna start reading in about 5 minutes so I can post on Instagram what I'm doing. Bad to the bone. Bad. walking a fair barefoot. Yeah, I don't really want to post it on Instagram. It's just like I don't have the... I have the chutzpah for it. That's fine. I've been doing other work. Why not do this too? Okay. All right. Okay, everyone. Without further ado, I think we shall begin. Okay, so we're going to start. Start here. God, there's so much stuff on my screens. Sorry, I just have to think about what it is I'm ever trying to do. And great. Great. So we have sources. Sorry, 1 second. Our finalists. Let's unlock. So we're going to start off with our script D, which is Good Morning World. And that was written by, I'm not going to tell you because this is an anonymous thing. And I'm trying to keep it that way as this is not a popularity contest. And I really would like it to stay that way. Again. Once again. But you know, it's tough. It's tough out here. Okay, so I think we should just go for it. Yeah. I think I'm gonna change my really quick before we go because you should be reading and writing. I should totally be on the reading and writing. Yeah, reading and writing. Done. Great. Geet. Oh my gosh, hang on. Before we go, I have to send all my stuff to all these other Discord channels. There's so much stuff to do all the time. Okay, let's do this. So, self-promo, boom, boom. The self-promo. Okay, there we go. Text chat. Writers Horde going live. Boom, boom. Keto writes. Boom, 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 boom. Fox Den. Boom, boom, boom. Gaming with everyone. Cypher's Bridge. Jonathan Mars. Da-da. All right. Okay. Now that we did that, I feel better about this. Feel a little better. So let's start reading. All right. So we have 4 scripts that we're gonna get through, and they're not all scripts. So before we get going, let's go about. So our prompt for this was a vampire goes to retire in his coffin, but he can't sleep. Now, some of these have followed to that prompt more closely, others have not, and that's okay. I am not going to penalize people that have somewhat tried, to stay with the prompt, but obviously let's try and stay with the prompt as much as possible for future reference. I think it just makes it more fun as far as like giving yourself more of a challenge, because anybody can write anything anytime. This is like the whole point is to not write anything anytime and do. It's just like I don't have to do the thing. It's just like I don't have to do the thing. It's just like I don't have to. Oh wow, that's a horrible echo. Okay, let's start reading. Ooh, 20 minutes in, perfect time. Perfect time as ever. Guard your privacy. Learn more. I don't want to learn more. How do I unlearn? Can't really unlearn these days. Okay. Sorry, I just got to be able to monitor chat. Okay. Let's do this. So script D is Good Morning World. Scene. Typical lighting for a nightclub. Close-up of a woman's face. Looking at the camera, her eyes are wide, mouth open, showing surprise, perhaps shock, and after a moment the camera pulls back, revealing a man's shoulder. The man is holding the woman close to him, and as he pulls back, her gaze shifts to his face. The camera pans to the side to show both faces. Brief instance of a man licking his lips as he smiles at the woman. Joe goes, "It's okay. You're okay. You were talking to me and we had a nice chat. I came on to you and thought maybe you were interested, but I wasn't going anywhere. Nothing wrong with me. You're just not into me." Thanks for the sub. Welcome. Woman expresses and relaxed. She becomes more bland. All right. And then Joe continues, "You don't want to hurt my feelings, but you want to break it off. Maybe you're tired and want to call it a night anyways. You're not going to give me your number." The woman pauses as she purses her lips and smiles politely. Joe says, "So you want to get out of here?" Woman goes, I'm sorry, but I'm kind of tired. I think I'm just going to get home." "Oh, can I give you a lift?" says Joe. "I'm good. Thanks," says the woman. "Well, how about your number?" says Joe. Next time, okay?" Damn, it's brutal. Moves past Joe and is gone. Joe quietly smiles to himself. And we cut to Joe lying in bed in a dim room. His hands are folded across his belly, and he's staring upwards. And then we're back at the bar, and Joe is meeting with Lester. "So, how was she?" says Lester as he smiles. "Okay, I guess. Had a weird metallic taste, though," says Joe. "You bit her on the left, didn't you?" says Lester. "She had some shiny body paint there. I saw it in the nightclub light." And Joe picks up his drink and works his mouth. "Try tequila," says Lester. Joe is back in bed. He looks up and he blinks as he sighs. Now we're back at the bar. "So, you're still not sleeping?" says Lester. Joe swallows and sighs. "No." "What do you do when you can't sleep?" "Doesn't happen," says Lester. "I'm like half dead when the sun starts to come up. Sometimes I'm like dragging myself to bed." And then we're back at Joe in bed. He's looking upwards and he glances to the side. Then back up. The scene of the bar. "And no one else goes through this," says Joe. "This isn't like an adjustment thing?" Lester goes, "Never heard of it before." "What about the community?" says Joe. "I don't know if I can ask the community about this," says Lester. "They don't like weird. Weird is problems, and they don't like problems, you know?" Now we're back at Joe in bed. As he reaches to the side, he picks up his phone. He taps at the screen as it lights up his face. He contemplates it, turns it off, and rests it on his chest as he stares up again. We're back at the bar. Lester goes, "You're using a bed, though, right?" Joe goes, "Yeah?" Lester goes, "Have you tried a box yet?" Joe goes, "You keep asking me that. I don't have a box." "Why would I use a box? The bed's fine." "You're not the one sleeping," says Lester. "The elders usually use a box. It's traditional and stuff." "I don't know, maybe it's atmosphere or psyching themselves up or they feel safe. Could just be image. They don't say." "It feels weird," says Joe. Lester responds with, "So one of us is not sleeping." And like I said, back at Joe in bed, Lester says, "They don't like weird," as in the voiceover into Joe's head. And now we have Joe in his bed as images of him doing things as he continues to lie there. He's reading a book. He's pacing. He's sitting and he's staring, pacing, and he's silently ranting. The ball against the wall thing, where he's just throwing the ball against the wall. Or maybe he's like pushing his back against the ball against the wall, and he's like stretching, doing one of those things. He's looking at his phone. No more images. Just him lying there. Just him lying in bed. Cut away to him raising a window blind with a pencil. Watching the dust nodes dance in a ray of light. The office chair. As he plops down onto it, he stares at the laptop with the screen off. Joe stares. He rubs his face with one hand and reaches forward. The screen lights up. Browser comes up, searches, news articles. Joe runs his hand through his hair. He blinks wearily. He tries to focus on the screen. The screen cycles through shorts, reels, Instagram. Joe blinks at the screen, raises his eyebrows, and the screen shows a streaming page. A political rant streamer. Joe purses his lips and reaches to click. Screen shows different streamer, maybe DIY. And Joe looks mildly impressed. The screen shows different streamer, cooking stream. Joe sighs, either cooking holds no interest or he's wistful about food. The screen shows a different streamer, wacky antics. Joe chuckles. He clicks to stop the stream, glances around the room looking for further distraction. He stops and blinks. He looks thoughtful. Turns back to the screen and starts to type. Views of outside apartment door with a package on the doorstep. And Joe opens the door and gets the package as he then closes the door. Inside, Joe opens the box and digs into contents. Back in the office chair, looking forward, he then reaches forward, adjusting something. A view of the laptop screen with webcam on top. A view of Joe staring forward, looking anxious. Takes a couple breaths, looks down, looks forward, clicks something. The screen shows a streamer page. Joe is streaming. Staring straight ahead, glancing down, looking back, opens his mouth. Doesn't say anything. He closes his mouth. He blinks. He opens his mouth again. "Good morning, world. I'm awake. How about you?" End. Premise. Joe is a relatively young vampire. Physically, he's in his late 20s or early 30s. Chronologically, he's not much older. He doesn't know who first bit him, and he's not sure who actually turned him. Though he sees fellow vampire Lester as a mentor, and a possible friend. Lester presents as older, or at least more experienced, and is apparently willing to act as a mentor or something like a friend. He talks about the overall body of vampires as the community. He's cagey about who's part of the community and how they're actually organized, if at all. Joe is still getting a feel for his abilities, but he's got a good handle on being able to impress his will on a target, influencing mood and adjusting memories. He hasn't fully explored his strength or possible superhuman skills. He's mostly concentrated on being low profile, with Lester's encouragement. Joe is apparently unusual because he has difficulty sleeping during the day. He tries to keep busy or at least distracted, but with little to do and no one to interact with, he eventually becomes restless. After seeing people streaming, he decides to try it for himself. He calls his stream "Good Morning World" and typically spends it talking about current events or sometimes personal philosophy. To his surprise, he gets watchers, then followers, then chatters, and finally people voice chatting him on stream. He turns it to a call-in show, talking with people, working through issues with them, helping with problems when he can. Possible areas of focus: limited advantage. Since he can't go out during the day, he can't see these people in the circumstances they describe. Sometimes the problems and issues and even personalities they convey don't resemble their real lives. Sometimes he finds this out when they either accidentally or deliberately encountering them at night. Hangry Joe. Sleeplessness is draining for a vampire just as it is for a mortal. For Joe, this means he needs to get more blood, from targets or sources. He needs to become emotionally variable if he's underfed. He becomes more emotionally variable if he's underfed. Drawing attention. According to Lester, the community prefers to get a low profile, and Joe is increasingly a public figure. Limited reach. Joe finds himself dealing with people's problems as he perceives them under the limitations of being stuck at home. He has difficulty influencing the outside world. These are all good. Risk of getting involved with the police. This is good. It has good stakes at the end of this. So, yeah, this is Good Morning World. I'm not going to tell you who wrote it. But if you like that, please go check it out. Go check it out on the Discord and vote for it. Now, before you do, listen to the rest so that we can, you guys know what you're voting for. You're actually plotting, Monarch? Sorry, now I'm looking at chat. That's awesome. What are you plotting? And then Alan, let me see what you're saying. Oh, shoot. There we go. All right, that's better. Is it be too difficult for your film, or do you have to plan all this? Oh, all the on-screen stuff. It's tough, but it's doable. You know, like you can because like you can cut around certain things. Like, they're logging on to Twitch. You can create a Twitch homepage, and then design who's live, and then kind of like have like them go cursor to click, and then cut away as they click, and then we can like cut to certain things on actual Twitch, and then cut to the specific like design we make for. I would probably create a Twitch channel for this stream or for this short. So like we would actually show like it does, but it also is used all the time as like in YouTube videos and stuff. Monarch, that's hilarious. Yeah, Kicker, YouTube. I don't know. I think we can figure it out. We can also we can design our own streaming platform, which is part of the fun. I can, and that's, I'm sure people will have fun with that, in terms of like, we can design our own look, create our own Twitch. We can call it Flitch. We can call it, Creep, because, I don't think it's creepy, but if you think about what it is that I'm doing right now, it's weird. Like, it's weird. I don't think this is creepy at all, but like, you know what I mean? Like, this is just like a different concept in human society. Film Hub? Let's try that one again. Let's do it again. Let's try that again. All right. Next, we're going to go and read Obligate Parasite. Yeah. Obligate Parasite. Which one is this one? Is this Obligate? This is Obligate Parasite. All right, let's do this. Okay, and also, thank you for the follow. Thank you for the follow. And, yeah, thanks for the sub. So, Cody Wample, I know that I don't know if you're still here, but I accepted your thing. I accepted your request into the server. I don't know if you're... Yeah, I kind of did that mid-read. Anyways, let's get it. So this here is Obligate Parasite. Quiver is, that's a pass. What kind of spider? The spider. Orb Weaver. What? Orb Weaver. Whoa. Yeah, I want it to be an Orb Weaver. Those are the most common? I was thinking we do like, I was thinking we bring in some like sugar gliders. Instead of a spider, we get like a nice sugar glider. We get the sugar gliders coming in. They're just like... Doing something new every day. That's fantastic. All right. Enough schwitzing around. Obligate Parasite. Oh, God. Interior prison cell. Day. POV shot. A spider gradually climbs down a whitewashed concrete wall. Alice is the person watching. Vision fades in and out. She tilts over to the side and then brings herself back up. Full view. Alice sits in a solitary confinement cell. Walls, not bars. Locked metal door. Alice appears around early middle age. Long hair and nails heavily restrained. Vampiric. Prison uniform. Modern. The spider finally gets onto the floor. Coming closer to her, she's now able to reach it without getting up or breaking restraints. Gets into her mouth and bites it in half with the crunch of her teeth. I actually missed that in the first read through. Jillian goes, "Where do you think you're going?" From off screen. Alan from off screen goes, "I'm just gonna go talk to the prisoner." Interior prison hallway leading to the cell. Now that their distance and audibility from Alice has been established, we cut to them. Jolene Parsons, middle-aged, tough and determined. Alan Ward, young, watches splatter films in his free time. What's a splatter film? I don't... Oh. Oh, it's just gore porn. Got it. Both prison guards, same rank. Alan is carrying a large unmarked paper bag, and Jillian gets in front of him, blocking his way. "Do you think I'm just gonna go let a male guard into solitary with one of our prisoners?" says Jillian. "She's no ordinary prisoner, and you know it. Just let me through. I'll be just a second," says Alan. "I'm not gonna let you go alone." "What's in the bag?" says Jillian. It's not a weapon or anything like that, okay? I'm trying to help her," says Alan. "An escape tool?" says Jolene. "No," says Alan. "Let me see," says Jolene. A short jostle for the bag. Alan won't give it up. In the fight, something inside breaks open. Red blood stains the paper outside and drips down onto the floor. A moment of silence. "Ward, you know vampires aren't real, right?" "When I saw her bite her cellmate, that's when I was sure. Ah, it was so cool." "Her cellmate died," said Jolene. Alan smiles to himself. Then, with Jolene looking at him, changes his face to a frown and nods seriously. "Well, this blood was ethically obtained, okay? Come on, ignoring my reasons, she's starving, right? And you're not the kind of person that would let even a serial killer starve." Interior prison cell. Alice notices the blood, sniffs the air, her eyes are wide, and looking like she might cry. She's starving, daring to hope. Clanging knock at the door. Back against the wall, says Jolene. Alice laughs shallowly and moves a small distance back that her restraints allow. I brought breakfast, says Alan. Ward, hurry up. It's getting on the floor, says Jolene. Jolene opens the door and they step in. Alice immediately makes a bid for the bag. Alan steps back. You want to taunt me? Says Alice. She has an accent and her voice is hoarse. No, sorry. I was just startled. Here you go, says Alan. He impales the bag with the straw and holds it out to her gingerly. Alice takes it and sucks vigorously. Huh. You know, I've been feeding you. Jolene goes, huh, you know, I've been feeding you. You don't have to settle for a biohazard, says Jolene. Where'd you get it? To Alan. The infirmary, says Alan. It tastes horrible. Live blood is much better, says Alice. She wipes her mouth and goes back to drinking again. I can get you live blood next time, okay? Says Alan. Jolene whacks him. Alice sucks out the last drugs and lets the bag go. I'm most grateful, says Alice. Are you really a vampire? Says Jolene. No. I drink blood because I'm a pervert, and I stay this young because of my skincare routine, says Alice. That's great dialogue. Alan laughs. You say this blood is from the infirmary? Says Alice. Yep, says Alan. Don't get me live blood. Get me more of this. Just warm it up first, says Alice. Okay, now or I'm gonna sleep now. You bring more tomorrow, says Alice. True to her word, she does. Jolene and Alan leave quietly to the interior of the hallway. Ward, I'll be honest. Say I don't like you. And that prisoner Alice, creeps me out. Thanks, Jolene, says Alan. But for over a year, she's been trapped in solitary and suffering, starving herself, not eating or drinking anything. And right now, I feel like you really helped her. Alan goes, you might be the most empathetic person in this place. You should quit and become a daycare worker. Jolene goes, I'll take career advice from you as soon as you get to be older than me. By the way, we're not on a first-name basis, says Jolene. Sorry, Parsons, ma'am, says Alan. Same time tomorrow, says Jolene. Sounds good, says Alan. Montage. Alice's rehab. Alan walks down the hall with a smile and a bag of blood, reluctantly following Jolene. Alice drinks the blood bag in her cell. Somber expression. Alan walks down the hall with blood again. Jolene follows, looking more friendly. Alice drinks. Alan and Jolene walk down the hall again. The infirmary nurse got really upset. Okay, sorry, we can't read it the same way. This is dialogue now. Alan goes, the infirmary nurse got really upset at me. Jolene says, she's my friend. I'll talk to her about it. Alice drinks. Her somber expression crumbles into tears. She presses her face in her hands and weeps. Interior, prison cell, day. Jeez. Directly following the last montage cut, Alan says, hey. Alice grabs him, wraps him in a hug. Jolene tenses, but Alice isn't hurting him. I'm sorry, says Alice. You can hug me all you want. Just don't graphically murder me with your teeth, says Alan. Alice lets him go. Ever since I became this, I never had access to preserved human blood like this. I tried red meat, blood sausage. Inefficient. And I never had any money. Murder became my fate, and you showed me another way. I will hug you again. She does. Alice awkwardly pats her on the back. She lets him go. Alan awkwardly pats her on the back. She lets him go. Alice goes, and you? I will not pretend I'm innocent. I have killed 27 people, says Jolene. More, says Alice. Why would she say that? But even though you knew that number, that was in the double digits. You gave me all sorts of food to try and get me to eat and treated me like a human being. So thank you. Do you want to keep killing people? Says Jolene. No, not at all. I was forced into it, says Alice. A life sentence. But you're... Look at this, says Alan. He shows her his phone with a picture of Alice. She was transferred here from upstate 8 years ago. Since then, her hair and nails have grown, but she hasn't gotten any more grayed hairs. No new wrinkles, no nothing. I got records from upstate. It's the same. Even though, if you count backwards, she should have been 10, 20 years younger when she was arrested. I will not die, says Alice. So you'll be here, says Jolene. Forever, says Alan. I doubt they'll let a serial killer on parole, says Jolene, but it's worse than the death penalty. Debatably, says Alan. Did you know that lethal injections... Ward, says Jolene. Sorry, Alan. Prisoners go insane in solitary, says Jolene. Don't worry, I'm already insane, says Alice. Even if you are, you deserve a quality of life, says Jolene. Can you talk to the warden, says Alec. Jolene looks away. She's tried before. Despite her white knight attitude, she knows it's impossible for her to change the prison system. What about your lawyer, says Alan. I killed him, says Alice. You did, says Alan. Some state-sponsored guy, goading, mocking. He said I did the worst job possible covering my tracks. Alan looks unnerved and a little impressed. Jolene puts her head on her hands. Parole for you might not be safe, says Jolene. We can rehabilitate her, says Alan. I believe it. I'm seeing it happen just from giving her food and talking to her, but I'm hungry all the time. I can hear your heartbeat, says Alan. Alice. Beat. Parsons, we have work to do. Let's get back to it. For now, says Alan. Will you come back, says Alice. Yes, we'll come back, says Alan. They leave with the clanging of the door. Alice stands. Her legs are a little shaky, but it's possible. Pulls at her restraints hard. An important pin comes loose and clatters to the floor. She's more free and can touch the door. Presses her forehead to it instead of shoving it. She sinks down. Fucking maximum security prisons in the 1700s. They were like paper. She scoots back and sits against the wall. A dead spider's in the corner. Not enough flies in here. She pokes at it. Ah. It died. Interior, prison hallway, night. Alan tiptoes down the hall with a flashlight and unlocks Alice's door. Interior, cell, immediately after. The lights are off. Alice blinks up at Alan at his flashlight, but there's a different sort of vampiric edge to her in the dark, like a bat or a cat. Hey, Alice. Hello. I never introduced myself properly, did I? It's Alan. Alan Ward. He extends his hand to shake. Alice does with a wry smile. I've cried in front of you. You want to do introductions now? Sure. Look, I've been talking to Jolene. She's a real rule follower. She doesn't want to let you out. But I think I can convince her. Okay. You want to get out, right? Says Alan. Alice nods. But I'm really reforming, says Alice. I'll keep drinking those blood bags. I'm not sure how to keep getting them, honestly. Probably they're on the black market or something, so I'll ask some of the prisoners. Anyway, maybe I'll rob a bank and go buy some. In banks, they don't even shoot at you. They'll just give you the money. I'll get you out, okay, says Alan. I'll convince Jolene to help out, or I'll do it myself, but I want something from you in exchange. What, says Alice. Kill my sister, says Alan. Beat. Why, says Alice. Don't worry about it, says Alan. Is she hard to kill? For me, sure, but not for you. Is this a test? Because if I agree and you leave me here because I'm a true monster, this isn't a test, I swear. Then, alright. It's no different than anyone else I've fed on. I'll kill her. Thanks a million. Don't tell anyone about this, alright? Okay, let me try something. He takes her hand. You're freezing cold. I'm a vampire. He puts a hand on her chest. Your heart, I can't feel it beating. I'm a heartless person after all. Can you stop breathing? Says Alan. Yeah, you can too, says Alice. I mean, and survive? I believe so, says Alice. Awesome, perfect. I'll tell you the plan after I meet with Jolene. Interior, prison hallway day. Jolene, on duty, sits against the wall in a poor mood. How's it going, boss lady? Says Alan. I'm not your boss, says Jolene. You're always bossing it, says Alan. How's it going? You don't have blood on you, says Jolene. No, I was just worried about her, says Alan. You really care about Alice. Maybe you should be the daycare worker. Maybe you should be the daycare worker. That's a good callback. I didn't recognize that on the first read through. Alan sighs. It's the novelty, but it's also her circumstances that makes me feel for her. She is a real vampire. I've accepted that at this point, says Jolene. Besides the blood drinking, besides that she doesn't go on, besides that she doesn't age. We've seen her go to town on someone. Alan goes, so she couldn't really not kill people because she has this urge to drink blood. So it's safer to keep her in here, says Jolene. Alan lowers his voice. And from here, the conversation continues with them both whispering. And after we quit or die, if she's kept here too long, she'll rot, starve, go insane. I think it's our responsibility to help her escape this prison and to rehabilitate her. There's women in here who I'm dead sure are innocent. Okay, says Jolene. Or just don't deserve their sentence. But I've never helped one escape. And I'm not about to. I know. I'm not above the law. Alan goes, the law isn't equipped or willing to help a person like Alice. Beat. But you are. Think of this as repentance. I can't speak. For all the innocent women you've left to rot here. I can't, says Jolene. I promise. I won't let her hurt anyone else again. I'll give her my own blood to stop her. What's your plan, says Jolene. Interior prison cell day. Jolene knocks on the door and then opens it. How you doing? Says Jolene. Alice is draped on the floor, eyes and mouth slightly open, playing dead. Playing. I didn't catch that the first time. Oh my god, Alice, says Jolene. She checks the pulse, checks for the breathing, attempts CPR. It all fails. She brings out her walkie-talkie and radios someone. Is this the infirmary? Says Jolene. Yeah, this is the infirmary, says Alan over the walkie-talkie. A prisoner's died. Alice Doe, ID, number 446. Send emergency response down to 446's cell. Estimated cause? Starvation, says Jolene. You sure she's dead, says Alan. Yes, says Jolene. CPR, Alan? Done, says Jolene. Someone's coming right now. Then I'll call the coroner. That coroner is... Yeah, don't worry, says Alan. Interior, prison hallway, soon after. Alice is taken out on a stretcher by Alan in nurse's garb. Jolene with a masked emergency worker. She keeps her dead expression up until her head is naturally jostled to the side off the stretcher. Her hair blocking the view of her face from the cameras, then her expression wobbles, sad and uncertain. Finally, it twists into a feigned smile. Her head is helped up back into the stretcher, and she returns to playing dead in time. It's late evening. The hallway door opens to the rest of the prison. A bit of dim light shining through. Alan is smiling a little. Jolene is feeling a bit of cathartic satisfaction. Fade out. Obligate parasite, everyone. If you want to go vote for obligate parasite, it's script A. Script A. Obligate parasite. Go vote for obligate parasite. Beautiful. Okay. Awesome, thank you. I'm reading the scripts right now, so I can't join, but I'll join in a sec. Or like I'll be down in like 30-ish? Possibly 40? All right, so everybody, that is Obligate Parasite. I really liked, so my biggest, if I'm going to tell you my creative, my constructive criticism, the sister comes out of nowhere. I feel like we don't know enough about his motivation that it just feels like it's out of nowhere, but this is very work, like that's I love this, like I think the story has a lot of potential. And that's just the one thing that like stands out to me. Um But with that being said, it's not like that doesn't really affect it. It's just kind of like just something that I would want to add a little bit more background to, in like in the opening. Maybe his sister. Wouldn't it be crazy if his sister was, um, Jolene? Like I think that would make it like I need you to kill Jolene because I think that would be a fantastic end to the pilot where now they're both wanted because Jolene is dead. I don't know. That's just an idea. But yeah. Anyways, that is the constructive criticism nobody asked for. Next, V is for power. Okay, let me make sure you guys can see this well. Power. V is for power. It's my Arnold. Okay. There we go. All right. V is for power. Hmm. Tittle. Sorry. I think it's funny. All right. LA, July 1991. Now that, okay, having already read this story, I don't know why it's a period piece. Okay. Interior. Church basement tonight. 8 people sit in a circle of folding chairs, mainly women with a few men. Almost everyone has visible scars. Female member with a burn scar across her neck going down speaks. I was young and stupid. I thought I really loved me and things would be different than my home. We were making a home together. We focused on 2 of the people in the circle as the female member shares. The first is Mason, dark-skinned male, age 26, in a wheelchair with a buzz cut, wearing a collared polo and a windbreaker and khakis that can be partially seen under the blanket as he keeps over his legs and a pair of tennis shoes. That was one sentence. The second is Eve, a pale white woman with dark hair and a ponytail, wearing sunglasses and a full black ensemble. Female member. I always told myself I wouldn't be with somebody that treated me poorly, but as he kept getting worse, being pushier, more passive aggressive, and then violent, I told myself that it wasn't the same. That I loved him and he loved me, but the female member tears up as we focus on her again. I'm sorry. Fuck. She sniffles. I talked myself out of running away so many times. If I just... It's not your fault, says Mason. Mason gives the female member a somber look and looks around to the other members as she speaks, addressing them all. Mason gives the female member a somber look and looks around to the other members. I literally just said that. Everything that has been done to us, none of it is our fault, guys. We can't control what others do to us. All right, says Mason. Mason wheels forward and takes his female member's hand. You took the chance, giving your heart to another, and I'm sorry that he wounded it instead of healing it. Your pain must be especially painful. but don't shut your heart off to the world. You'll find someone else. Be grateful for what you learned from the experience and take that with you into your future endeavors. Eve scoffs to the other side of the circle, causing everyone to look over at her. I thought this was for victims of physical violence, not finding love again, group. We're survivors, Eve, says Mason, not victims. Everyone struggles with their own issues after physical violence, including PTSD around the circumstances of their abuse. Why don't you finally share with us, Eve, and maybe together we can help you understand that we're not here to judge, but help you and each other. Did that fix you? Says Eve. Everybody in the room looks at Mason's chair/legs. Mason follows their gaze and laughs slightly. I promise. Me walking is even more of an eyesore. Some people awkwardly laugh in the group. Mason rolls back to his spot in the circle. It's been a while since I've shared. Some of you may know I was a runner in school. I was damn good too. I was going to be our anchor for 3 of our relay teams. It's not? Are you sure? Because it worked before. Try it again. Yeah, it should totally work. It's frustrating. It's not working for you. It has been some time since I shared. Some of you may know I was a runner in school. I was damn good too. I was going to be the anchor for 3 of our relay teams and then still run 2 of my own races at state. Mason sits there, silence for a bit. The thing about being good is others get jealous. There was another runner who I had surpassed and took his place. He did not take kindly to that and took it into his own hands to get it back. He and 2 of his buddies jumped me late after practice, and they had a bat, and deep sigh. It took me a while to learn how to use what became my legs, and even then, it's not even easy or an enjoyable experience. It is because of that and the way of the world that I created this group for us, survivors, not victims. I hope to use my misfortune to help others. Interior church basement, night. Everyone puts their chairs by the door as they funnel out. Mason's positioned by the door, so everyone must pass him. Thank you, everyone, for coming this evening. Remember to appreciate the small things every day, like lunch with a friend or smelling a flower. Eve stands behind Mason and chimes in as the last of the group vacates, leaving just the 2 of them in the room. Seeing a sunrise, something like that. Mason startles and turns around before he rolls past Eve. Your colorful commentary during group today was the most you've shared, ever, I believe. And you're still sticking around after all these little chats I see, even after 3 months. What can I say? I don't get along with most people, especially coddled wimps like your little group. Mason starts clearing the table with snacks and coffee into a trash bin, and as he talks with Eve, damaged people need coddling sometimes, Eve. It's a way to help people build themselves back up again so they can try and move on and not feel like their entire world has been pulled from underneath them. Mason starts throwing things into the trash angrily. Seems like you need to take some of your own advice there, Dr. Phil, says Eve. Mason takes a deep breath for a moment before rolling over to the broom in the corner. Takes it and starts sweeping. Eve gives him a puzzled look. Hey. So sorry, guys. I just totally got sidetracked. Sorry, I just completely... Boom. Mason takes a deep breath for a moment. Alright, Eve gives him a puzzled look. How come you aren't using your forearm crutches? You always use them after for cleanup. Mason says nothing and continues to sweep. You'd go on about how practicing with them helps my body relearn the motions so that I can one day walk on my own and all that optimistic crap. Mason sighs a heavy sigh. I don't have any left for myself after group today. That was just depressing, says Eve. At least when I say sad shit, I give it a layer of humor to help it go down. Eve, I'm truly not in much of a mood, says Mason. Today you're welcome to stay, since you seemed to stay even after me, but please leave me be. Eve puts her hands on the surrender sign and leans back against the craft table as Mason continues sweeping in silence for a beat before Eve has to break it. I'm sorry. Mason sighs deeply with an exasperation. It's just, you're the one that preaches about sharing and how it helps people move on and find support and such. At least I finally know what you listen to during group. What you do listen during group. So for me to not share with me of all people means for you to not share with me of all people means it must be something truly bothering you, or you're ashamed of whatever it is. Eve stares straight into Mason's eyes as he stares right back with a hard look on his face. I think it's best you leave now, says Mason. Sounds just like what I would do. You know why I stayed for all these pity party group meetings? Let me, yeah. Because I see right through you, Mason. You aren't like all these other people. Stop it, that's enough. You don't even follow your own advice because you know it doesn't apply to you. What future do you have? You had a path before it was ripped from you, and now every time you hear one of those soppy stories, you feel rage in your heart from what was taken from you compared to all those wimpy tales. Mason holds his head down, avoiding Eve's eyes. You think so little of me. My rage does not build because of the injustice done to me. It festers with every account of violence because I know what it was like to be the one at the end of the stick, scared and desperate, and to be begged for help. My anger is fueled every time a new face comes into this group. I know it's a person who's already been hurt, and I could not save them because of the confines that I'm stuck into this fucking body. Mason breathes deeply in the beat of his silence between them. Yo, thanks for the sub! King Panda Ty, King. Mason breathes deeply with the beat of the silence between them. My rage is how that day, what they truly took from me was a chance to choose. Their selfish choice stole my ability to choose. Just like every person who walks into this room, I started this group to help others so they didn't end up like me. Most days it is enough, but sometimes it's all just a little too. Eve lunges into Mason, and as she does, her glasses fall off, showing her blood-red colored eyes. She sinks her razor-sharp canines into his neck and starts sucking. Mason goes into shock, and after a moment, a dropped limb onto the floor. Interior, child group home, night, office, night. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, guys. Woo! Office, night. Cynthia, 22-year-old female with dark skin and thick braids hanging loosely atop a Joan Jett in a Black Hearts t-shirt and jeans, sits at a desk with an open folder in front of her as she dials in the corded phone. She looks closely at a few of the papers in the folder when we see words like black mold and contaminated water, overcrowding living environment highlighted. The phone rings 4 times before an answer. Someone better be dead, says Vaughn off screen. Vaughn, I was going through the submissions, says Cynthia. God damn it, Cynthia. Do you have any clue an hour it is? This is absurd of you to call me at this time and expect me to pick up, says Vaughn. And there are a lot of recurring health and safety issues in the city's records that are across every single property they own. Cynthia stands up and smacks the desk. Are you listening to me? We need to run this shit in the people's paper tomorrow. Okay? Maybe then people will... Are you listening to me? Says Vaughn. We have a print set up for tomorrow anyways, and print we have planned for 3 weeks. We ain't some pig paper with resources to... And instead of actually giving the people something pertaining to the root cause of their poverty, something they could use to make change for themselves, we spoon feed them feel-good stories so that they could sit docile and happy, huh? We're trying to give the people hope. After a year, you still don't get that? We're building the Panthers back from ashes. We need the people to trust us. You want them to trust us? We should do what Hampton did and feed the community. Help them out in their suffrage, not keep them ignorant. What happened to when the Black Panther Party were revolutionaries? Cynthia slams the phone, hanging it up, and lets out the sigh as she plops down on the chair again, deflated. Cynthia looks behind her. and out the large window in the room for a few breaths before the phone rings, cutting the silence. Cynthia instantly snatches it before the first ring ends. Inglewood Group Home for Children. It is sadly past our operation hours, but I can take a message if that. Malcolm off screen playfully goes. Then why are you code switching still? Cynthia smiles and starts playing with the cord as she talks, because somebody decided to call my work even after I told them multiple times not to call this late. What is life without causing trouble? Okay, Mr. Poet, says Cynthia. You have some timing. How so? Says Malcolm. I just got off the phone with Brother Vaughn and uh-oh, says Malcolm. Yep, not want to hear me out, says Cynthia. You wouldn't have called me unless you had something good for him. When we made him editor, he vowed to be open-minded and willing to listen. To Malcolm, I appreciate it, sweetheart, but I want to rant right now. Sorry, baby. What'd you find? Remember the city station property reviews I requested months ago? Well, I finally got them and spent $30 to make copies of it all, and turns out Erickson Properties was neglected. Unlivable properties across South LA where they just ignore the people because it's mainly our people who are struggling every day to get food, let alone chase down the landlord about the growing black mold. Damn slumlords disgust me. I'll talk with the higher-ups about it and see about getting into next month's paper. I know it isn't soon enough, and you should do your own research too. How? Says Cynthia. Use that mighty juicy brain of yours, says Malcolm. Cynthia scrunches her face at the use of the word juicy. To get evidence to show the people, show them that they're powerful enough and that you and the party are here to help them and that they're ready to fight for themselves. Boy, you're so cheesy. Thank you, says Cynthia. Anytime. I know we had plans, but I won't gonna be coming over tomorrow morning anymore. Got some stuff to handle before the chapter meeting. That's what I get for dating a chapter leader, huh? Should have known you'd have no time for me on your rise through the party, says Cynthia. If you're lucky, you'll be dating the chairman by next year, says Malcolm. You really think Brother David would go for me? All right, have a good night, baby, says Malcolm. Get home safe, please, and I'll call you tomorrow. All right, baby, good night. Cynthia hangs up the phone gently and spins in the desk chair once before stopping herself and then grabbing the yellow pages from under the phone and flipping through it. Interior, church basement, night. Mason's wheelchair sits in the middle of the room while Mason lies on the floor at its base. His blood pooling around him he opens his eyes and we see that they are now red as well. Mason looks down at the blood he's laying in and freaks out, crawling out of it. Take a chill pill, says Eve. Mason starts hyperventilating as he stares around at lights and the rest of the room. Look, right now you're being bombarded with new sensations and levels to your senses that you didn't have before. You need to calm down. You're totally fine. Mason closes his eyes and starts holding his breath. Okay. You still need to breathe. You bit me, says Mason. Mason opens his eyes and looks at Eve. What are you? You know what we are, says Eve. Mason jumps up and lunges at Eve, wrapping his hands around her neck and pinning her against the wall. What have you done to me? Says Mason. Eve smiles a sly grin as she grabs Mason's arms. I've gifted you back what was stolen, says Eve. Eve motions with her eyes down at Mason's legs, which he's been standing on and using. Mason looks at his legs. Mason lets go of Eve as he backs up and then stares at her. This gives you 10 minutes to talk before I decide what to do with you, says Mason. Interior, church basement, late night. Eve sits straddling a chair, and at the center of the room, Mason cleans the blood on the floor with paper towels. So the highlights are that I've got a handful of new allergies and the plus of being basically an upgraded human being, and you and I are stuck with each other until this finishes. Basically, it usually takes 9 months, but I haven't done this before, so I'm going to go off what I learned from others. If you get too far away from me, I die from organ failure because basically as the vampirism rots inside of me, or if you die. If the host vampire dies and the infection process stops and the extension rots away as well. Eve nods her head as she yawns. You need to understand the world of vampires before I tell you why I turned you. Now, the elder vampires, they come from a noble family whose father was the original vampire. Nobody knows how he got it, but he gave it to his 4 sons and they each turned 25. Pretty sure that was considered a long life back then. Noble family from where, says Mason? Somewhere in Europe before it was Europe. Now, these brothers hoard their power and who gets to be a vampire? Between all of them, they only have created a handful of other vampires. Meaning there are only about 20 vampires, and if that, in the world. Well, first time I've been a part of an exclusive club, says Mason. Eve gives Mason a hard look as he throws away the towels. You still fail to realize the gift that this is, says Eve. You've turned me into something no longer human and want a thanks? Not to mention all the new things I need to worry about now, like Silver feeding off this blood in the fucking sun. Eve throws the chair to the side as she gets up and rushes Mason, pinning him against the wall by his shoulders. Mason grabs her arms and tries to remove them, to no avail. You know why I turned you? Then listen. Or you want to know why I turned you? Then listen. Why I turned you? Oh, yeah. Of all the vampires that I know of, there are only 3 women, including me, with every single member is white. Other than me, every single one is a Nepo baby who've been handed power and hoarding it for centuries, if not millennia, to shape the world into the exact clay of depression and chaos that it is. Mason stops grabbing at Eve's arms. You're getting it now. I tricked the sadistic fool that was drunk on power over my village, as it was the only way as his slave. I could feel what freedom truly feels like. I myself have been a vampire for 100 years, and for those 100 years I've gotten to see how those in power seek nothing but to keep everyone that isn't them down. But this, having the power to stop others from keeping you down, this is true freedom. Mason stands there for a moment before Eve lets go and grabs the chair back, taking a seat. Fuck this. It's all more tiring than I thought it would be. Mason starts pacing around the room as he talks. Alright, one thing I'm so confused about is why hasn't it just spread like a virus then? Like, what keeps you all from spreading it around to everyone else? The vampire gets more powerful as they get older. This is because the virus gets to grow and fester. Every time you leave someone alive after a bite, you're going to give a portion of your power away to grow inside of them. We're creatures of the universe like that. Like all others, and all things come with a give and take. Their conservativeness with all also perpetuates their reign of power. The less you know the truth and have the ability to stand up to them. Mason stops pacing and turns toward Eve. You gave me your power, says Mason. A small portion, says Eve. I didn't lose anything I'll miss. I did this for my own interest. It may be a great freedom, but you were right. What I have just done to you is no gift. Your existence threatens everything vampires preach and stand for. Eve yawns again and shakes her head as she finishes. For now, we should get some rest. Sun will be up before you know it, and even though we don't need sleep, it does make us progress faster. Mason looks up at Eve with a questioning look. Heal. Gain power and advance your situation so we don't have to be joint at the hip for so long. I thought you said it takes 9 months, said Mason. Roughly. The more you sleep, the faster it could be. Like I said, you're my first, so I don't know it all. Mason stops pacing and leans against the wall. So I just go home and what, sleep through the day? No, you don't go home. As far as the world's concerned, you disappeared off the face of the planet. Mason pushes off the wall, standing tall. Wait, but I gotta tell you, you're dead to the world, says Eve. No other way around it, dude. Besides, you can't be far from me anyways, remember? Eve goes over to under the stairwell and rolls out 2 old and beaten coffins. I thought your first time should be special, just like you dreamed. Mason stares at the coffins and then up at the ceiling. We're in a church, isn't that bad for us undead? Eve lifts the coffin lid off to the side. Urban legend to make everyone in churches seem trustworthy. Churches in modern religion were created by a vampire. They're sanctuaries for other pale forces, and a great way to brainwash people by race swapping their prophets toward the elders' ethnic ideas. That's clever and infinitely terrifying. Point is, this is probably the safest place for us. Ready for bed? Just like that? I still got a lot of questions and want some answers. Yeah, well, I didn't realize how drained I'd be from all this, so you're going to have to wait until tomorrow night. We still get a few hours before light, says Mason. We need sleep, says Eve. The one and only time. Mason stands in place for a moment before walking over and getting into one of the coffins. Interior coffin, late night. Mason lays there with his eyes closed, but moving around to whispers of vampire power, freedom, from Eve's words echoing around his head. As he snaps his eyes open. Exterior, side alley, late night. Mason walks around with a hoodie on, covering himself through the grungy back streets, flinching at every slight noise. As Mason walks, he comes across a cardboard shelter with an arm sticking out, stopping him in his tracks. He inches closer, slobbering over the arm as he gets down on his hands and knees. It opens his mouth wide when he hears a scream that's cut short with a loud smack at the end of the alley. Mason backs away from the shelter and creeps toward the sounds vigilantly. Interior child group home office night. Cynthia sits pinching the bridge of her nose with eyes closed in a long sigh. She now has yellow pages torn out from the book strewn out in front of her with a few names circled. Mason sits at the window behind Cynthia, watching for a beat. I told you night shift would get to you, says Mason. Cynthia jumps up startled and turns towards Mason. Jesus! You scared the shit out of me, dude, says Cynthia. Mason drops down from the window inside the room. Sorry, sis, I don't have a ton of time. Mason, you're standing. I found a way to help our people, says Mason. Mason takes a step closer, and as he does, Cynthia is able to see his inhuman eyes. Her eyes go wide as she puts the office chair in between and stopping him from closing in. Mason stops and puts his hands up with a soft look. Cynthia, it's me, Mason, your brother. My brother's confined to a wheelchair and doesn't have some monster's eyes, says Cynthia. Mason drops his eyes for a moment before holding Cynthia's gaze again with a fiercer face. I know. It's going to sound even crazier, but I've been given a gift. One I can use to help all of us. Look at me, I can walk again. I can do a lot. More even. Mason and Cynthia stand in a silent standoff for a beat. I've been gifted power, says Mason. Not unlike the power that we use to hold our people back from rising. Power used to hold our people back and from rising. Power that we can use to break free from all other control over us. All these kids out there. Mason walks with a few steps past Cynthia and motions outside her office. Cynthia turns, keeping a chair in between them. They deserve a chance at a better world than this one. With this, we can free every one of our people from the chains of oppression that shackles them. We can give everyone the power to stop the pain they're subjected to just because of that. They're poor or don't have the right skin tone for society. Mason turns back to Cynthia and takes slow steps towards his sister as he continues. Imagine the world where our people can wake up with security instead of fear, where we don't have to talk differently to put the rich white folks at ease, where they don't have to live our days out hiding ourselves anymore. So we rule with an iron fist? Do you hear yourself? We always talked about wanting change for our people. This is change. Sadly, power is the only language this world knows to allow us to change things for ourselves for the better. At the cost of others fearing us, says Cynthia. They already do, says Mason. Mason is in front of the chair that Cynthia holds between them. Mason's breathing heavily and takes a deep breath. They don't give us anything but demeaning jobs because they fear us, says Mason. They do everything they can to silence us because they fear us. They lie about what they're capable of because they fear us. They hate us because they fear us. And as long as they're going to fear us, I think we finally give them a reason to be afraid, says Mason. Cynthia opens her mouth to say something more and then stops. She takes the chair and has a seat on it. You talk about being a monster like it's the only solution, says Cynthia. Everyone else around becomes a monster. The only way, one way or another, little sister, says Mason. Mason crouches down at his sister's level. I want to come to you as soon as this happened. I don't know why at that point, but I just wanted to be close to someone that truly knew me. On the way, something happened, though. I came across a man who'd taken his son into an alley that was beating him senseless. If he'd kept going, he would have killed the kid. Mason clenches his hand, and Cynthia puts her hand on his. That convinced me, though. I already was able to help one person. With your help, sis, we can help the world. Cynthia looks back and forth at both of Mason's eyes. What are you now? Says Cynthia. He puts his hand over Cynthia's. I'm still Mason. And I'm the same older brother that will always scare you and any chance I get. I'm the same older brother that grew up with you in that shitty house over on Chicago Street. And I'm the same older brother that you helped see the light in helping others after everything felt like it was stolen from me. Cynthia holds his gaze before she looks away and her eyes catch on the folder sitting on the desk. Prove it, says Cynthia. Cynthia turns away from Mason and grabs the paper scattered and hands the folder to Mason. This conglomerate controls most of the slum properties here on the south side. They've neglected them for years, and the tenants are all suffering from the state of it. Mason looks through the papers as Cynthia speaks. What are you thinking? Says Mason. Help me help them, says Cynthia. If you can do that, I'll become whatever you are. Mason paces for a moment, looking over the documents. So the plan would be what? Go over to the landlords and try to get them to be better? Says Mason. I may be your little sister, but I'm not so naive. If we can get them to admit that they've been neglecting the tenants and the issues on orders from the property managers, then the city will be forced to step in and take control of the property. Mason looks up to say something to Cynthia, but his eyes fall on Eve sitting on the window he entered from. I had one rule, says Eve. The end. Honestly, I kind of liked it more this time. I like. I did like it. I like the. I see what I would do with it. I'm not gonna say what I would do with it, but I see reading it what I would do with it as a director. But yeah, this is V is for Power, a political vigilante script written by I'm not going to tell you. Next, we have Daybreak or Undead Metrics, which is our last but not least. This one is in the style of like a pitchboard. Yeah. So let's read this one. Then we're gonna hop off stream. But this is gonna, yeah. Don't forget to vote, guys. This is our chance. This is what we're gonna be. This is what we do. Um. All right, Undead Metrics. The algorithm bites. An agoraphobic vampire fledgling desperate for online validation drags his ancient sire, forever trapped in a teenage body, into a modern attention-seeking economy where survival depends on less on secrecy and more on knowing which parts of your soul to sell. The core idea: Daybreak is a dark comedy about immortality in a world that never sleeps. A newly turned vampire tries to survive modern life through his online performance, while his centuries-old sire believes survival depends on hiding, discipline, and silence. Forced to pose as a father and homeschooled daughter, they navigate platforms, capitalism, and culture while arguing over what it means to exist at all. Vampirism is treated not as a gothic fantasy, but as a metaphor for labor, legacy, attention, and consciousness. Thematic statement: to survive in a modern world, you must perform. To survive forever, you must know when not to. Mortality isn't the curse, consciousness is. The world. Primarily set indoors, night-driven, interior heavy, ultra-low budget. The outside world is loud, algorithmic, capitalist, and indifferent. The show lives in close quarters screens and confined spaces. Main characters: Melvin, the fledgling, 30s. Agoraphobic, anxious, validation-seeking, obsessed with his online identity and metrics, insomniac, squeamish at the sight of blood, believes visibility equals existence. He cannot see his reflection, but he can see his zero count, which becomes his emotional parameter for success or for failure. He can, as his vampire charm grows, he wrongly thinks he's developed some riz, but has no idea how to use it. Constance, the sire. A PS13, born in 1874. Ancient vampire trapped in a teenage body. Cold, disciplined, judgmental, obsessed with rules, secrecy, and survival. Views the fledgling as a mistake she must now manage. New Bram Stoker. Dracula was a misinformation campaign to throw off vampire hunters. She believes vampirism requires restraint and invisibility. Modern platforms repulse her, but she understands power when she sees it. Publicly, she poses as his homeschooled daughter. Privately, she is the authority. Van Helsing is the ghost. Legendary vampire hunter, annoying, disappointed, pedantic, less offended by mortality than by poor execution. Backstory, revealed later. Van Helsing accidentally created the sire with vampire blood spilled in her mouth as he killed the vampire feeding on her. Out of guilt, he raised her as penance, instilling discipline, fear, and secrecy. Now he haunts her as a reminder of inherited guilt and outdated mentorship. Hunter Guy is their loyal thrall. More to come. Blood and feeding rules. Blood is required for survival. He avoids calling it blood at all costs. Alternative options: straws, sippy cups, opaque containers, euphemisms, iron tea, crimson tea soup. Added spices or food coloring to disguise it. Feeding is awkward, ritualistic, never erotic. Why he can't sleep. Constant construction noise during the day, endless notifications and doom scrolling, addiction to screen, financial stress and threat of eviction, possible gambling or teleshopping habits. Contrast: she sleeps in ancestral dirt and he sleeps in dirt dug from a backyard. The pilot episode: our opening image is the fledgling lies awake in the coffin, filming contents, checking stats. Setup: his sire attempts to wake him, only to realize he never slept. Thematic statement: to survive now, you must perform. To survive forever, you must know when not to. Exciting incident: an eviction notice threatens their living situation. Act 1 break: he humiliates himself live on stream while trying to push edgier content. Midpoint: he's banned from his platform. Climax: against his sire's explicit orders, he opens an OnlyFans account. Resolution: humiliated again, but this time it works. Subscribers roll in. Closing image: he lies down to sleep. Construction noise begins. Series engine: each episode introduces a modern obstacle to immortal survival. Gig economy, dating apps, therapy culture, cancel culture, influencer feuds, homeowners association rules, etc. The fledgling adapts too fast. The sire adapts too slow. Conflicts live in the gap. Long-term story arc, external arc. Legacy is her versus relevance him. Secrecy versus performance. She begins as the antagonist and evolves into the ally. He grows from weak, approving, seeking to self-define. And then we find the balance between the old world and the new, learning the visibility is power and when it's a trap. Final note, Daybreak is a show about consciousness without rest. The relationship between the two vampires is the show. Tone and safety, dark comedy, not shock horror. Violence and sex might be implied but not shown. Comedy comes from absurdity, failure, and power dynamics. It will never be sexualized. Love it. And then great future storylines and running gags. Wow, this is a great one. Whoever wrote this one has read a book about screenwriting. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, I think this is a great option. So yeah, guys, please go to our Discord if you'd like to vote, because let's vote. Let's be a part of this. Join the community. That's what this is all about. Anyways, thank you so much for joining, y'all. I appreciate you all, and I will not be live for the rest of the week, but you have until tomorrow night to vote. So see you there. Have a good one, y'all.